All right, everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. For those of you that don't know, my name is Frank West. I work here in the Office of Alumni Relations, and we're going to get started. Thank you all for joining us today for our Highlander Wisdom Webinar about alumni volunteer leadership. This series of webinars provides the opportunity for us to share information from our annual volunteer summit in today's virtual world. Even during times of uncertainty, we rely on our alumni to engage in meaningful opportunities. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone, feel free to ask your questions by using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Our panel at the end is eager to answer any questions that you may have. This afternoon, we have created a short video to explain some of the leadership opportunities that volunteers can participate in. Once the video is finished, we will bring in our live panel for you to ask your questions and hear from some current volunteers about ways they've chosen to get involved with their alma mater. Enjoy the video.
The Radford alumni team and board of directors are excited to share information with you about being a volunteer leader for your alma mater. We have numerous volunteer opportunities. The key to success on our boards and in our regions and affinity groups is strong alumni leadership. The impact you can make by donating your time, talent, and treasure is huge. Are you interested in learning more about a volunteer leadership role? Here's what we're looking for. We're looking for people with passion. Do you love Radford? Do you wish to use your Radford experience to influence the next generation of Highlanders? A great alumni volunteer is committed. Are you willing to show up to events, whether they be in person, on campus, in your region, or online? We need Highlanders who are willing to help spread the word. Are you able to participate in activities such as social media activities, volunteer activities, and fundraising initiatives? Do you want to help us elevate our university by sharing positive stories within your network? Finally, we need leaders to plant the seeds that will help us grow. Will you refer other alumni to get involved and share your Radford story with prospective students to encourage them to apply? I'm going to turn this over to Michelle to share information about the chapter leadership and Highlander contacts.
Regional chapters are an extension of the Radford University campus. While we would love to have you return to campus on a regular basis, we know that's just not possible. We enjoy seeing where our Highlanders land after graduation, and we want you to be proud alumni by bringing the Radford brand with you into your new communities. We categorize this volunteer opportunity in two ways. Be a regional chapter leader. Regional chapters are areas with dense alumni populations. Our regional chapters continue to grow. Through the regional chapters all up and down the East Coast, we host events like the National Capital Region and Richmond golf tournaments, service projects, athletics watch parties, business and government leader events, and many more. We rely on the chapter leaders to help plan events, provide outreach to regional alumni, and communicate and share information on social media. The other opportunity is to be a Highlander contact. Highlander contacts are huge pieces in our puzzle of connecting alumni. As a Highlander contact, you are the key contact in an area that does not have a full-fledged chapter. You help provide advice, networking, and serve as an event host or liaison. Now let's dive into the responsibilities of being a regional alumni leader. Serve as a role model by being engaged. Attend quarterly leadership meetings. Help organize activities by suggesting programs and spearheading the outreach. Allow us to post your contact information on the alumni website so that others can get in touch with you. Help review invitation lists for upcoming events. Identify resources for alumni networking. Encourage attendance for campus, regional, and virtual events. But most of all, just be a proud Highlander. Promote Radford in the region with other alumni on social media and throughout your own networks. Are you interested? These are the next steps. First, research if there's already an established chapter in your area. You can find the list on our alumni webpage. Is there already a chapter? Great. Contact the chapter leader and tell them you want to be involved. If there's no chapter, contact the alumni office and let's discuss the next steps to identifying other local alumni.
Next, we're going to talk about affinity and reunion leaders. Reconnecting with alumni who have had like-minded experiences regardless of location provides opportunities for affinity groups to form. These groups are for sports, clubs, organizations, majors, residence halls, and much more. Affinity groups may gather on or off campus. They celebrate a homecoming or winter celebration. They participate as a group in regional activities such as golf tournaments. They also may celebrate founding anniversaries off-campus with off-campus gatherings. Class reunion leaders help with event planning and class gifts. Being an affinity leader is very simple. You serve as the point person for the group. You're willing to share your contact information on our alumni website for others to reach out to you. Help promote Radford events and activities. Share ideas for affinity engagement. Review invitation lists and encourage attendance. Gather attendee information at off-campus events. Utilize your social media to promote these events. Finally, they help with Affinity Alumni Village tents during homecoming weekend. Does this sound like something you may be interested in? First, identify your group and see if there's already a point person for that group. Share information about constituents with the Alumni Relations team, and then share information about upcoming milestones with our team as well. Contact the alumni office to determine your next steps.
Now, the next opportunity for leadership are college and department boards. Radford College's departments and programs seek guidance and wisdom from alumni to help provide input on programming, outreach, awards, speakers, and fundraising. Board members represent various class years and industry and majors. Some boards have been in place for many years at Radford University, and others are in the beginning stages. These include the Davis College of Business and Economics, the Artist College of Science and Technology, the College of Humanities and Behavioral Sciences, the College of Education and Human Development, the Honors College, SMIPO, and Design. Now, there are several responsibilities to be on a college board. First, volunteers must attend regularly scheduled board meetings. They need to provide input on special requests. They need to promote the college program to other friends, alumni, and prospective students. Help open doors with foundations, corporations, alumni, and friends of the university, and finally assist with securing internship opportunities for students. Now, what is the process to become a college or department leader? First, you need to be a volunteer to speak in a college class. Next, you need to meet with the advancement officer or the dean or the alumni office. Get involved with specific college activities. Share interests with your alumni team and advancement officers. And finally, some boards do require annual donations for participation.
Now let's talk about the Foundation Board, the Board of Visitors, the Athletics Board, and the Alumni Board of Directors. These boards have responsibilities for overall leadership, including governing, advocacy, fundraising, engagement, and more. The process for each of these boards is different. The Board of Visitors is appointed by the Governor of Virginia. Currently, there are 15 members. It meets quarterly, and members are appointed for 4 years. Alumni and friends of the university, as well as engaged citizens of the Commonwealth and beyond, serve in this capacity. To do this, apply through the Secretary of the Commonwealth on the Governor's website. The Foundation Board of Directors. The Foundation is a 501c3 organization, and it operates exclusively for raising, investing, and administering private gifts, including endowments and real property for the benefit of the university. Members are nominated and voted on by the Foundation Board. The Athletics Board. This provides fundraising and financial oversight for Radford's Division I athletics private support. Prospective board members are vetted through a nominating committee comprised of the board. Our Alumni Board of Directors. They provide leadership for the 80,000 plus alumni working on outreach, programming, awards, special initiatives, focus groups, and more. It has a maximum of 25 members, and they serve as the face of the Alumni Association. They provide strategic direction and alumni voice. Get involved as a volunteer is the first step, and these appointments are for 3 years. The nominating committee makes these recommendations. For each of these boards, we need you to be positive about the university, share information with others, and be a financial contributor at a level that's comfortable for you. For more information on getting involved with any of these leadership boards, please reach out to me.
Thank you for your interest in being an alumni volunteer leader. We look forward to collaborating with you in the future. Now, let's hear from Frank.
Awesome. So it's going to take me just a moment. I'm going to bring the panel members in to join us. And here we go.
There we go.
Perfect.
Very good. Thanks.
Awesome. So for those of you that may be interested in serving on the Radford University Board of Visitors, the selection process is done through the Secretary of the Commonwealth Office. I am about to send a link to you guys. So if that's something you're interested in, you want some more information, you can follow that link or follow up with one of us after this webinar today. So now we're going to hear from some of our active volunteers about why they choose to get involved in some of these leadership roles. I'll now have each of the board members introduce themselves and share your class year and tell everybody where you're from. So Flip, do you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Mike DiFilippo, also known as Flip, and it's a nickname that has stuck since Radford. I graduated in 1990, and I currently live in Ashburn, Virginia, in the DC capital region.
Nancy?
I'm Nancy Manning. I graduated in the first December 1965 class, a little earlier than my class I entered in. And I live in Roanoke County on Bent Mountain, Virginia.
Awesome. Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon Jackson, class of 2010, and I'm located here in the Richmond area, Richmond, Virginia.
Awesome. Mary?
Yes, Mary Campbell. I received my bachelor's and master's in 1971, and I currently live in Northern Virginia.
Awesome. And Dale?
My name is Dale Artizone. I received my bachelor's in 1985, and I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Awesome. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. And now we're going to get started with some questions. Just as a reminder, if you do have questions for the panel, please drop them in the Q&A box at the bottom, and we'll definitely get to those here in a couple minutes. But my first question goes out to everybody. And so we'll kind of go around and let everybody say what they have to say. But what does it mean to you to serve on the Alumni Board of Directors and represent 80,000 plus alumni across the globe? Dale, I'll let you go first.
Well, look, I consider it an honor for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is great to be involved with other alumni who are very committed to the university and want to see the university advance. Two, the prospect of engaging even more alumni and having more alumni become involved with Radford. I think we on the board, I think that's one of our paramount goals is how do we get people more engaged? And part of that goes to really the core of Radford and what the university meant to me when I was there, what it still means to me, and my commitment to work with both the board and other alumni on continuing to see it grow, prosper, elevate, and gain in stature and reputation.
Awesome. Mary?
What an honor to go back and serve your university really in any capacity. To be able to be on the alumni board and to have the opportunity to, number one, work so closely with alumni and to see how the graduates of our university have really excelled in so many areas. It's been a wonderful opportunity to develop the camaraderie and to work in the many different areas as an alumni to hopefully get additional students to come to Radford and be as proud of their alma mater as we've been.
Absolutely. Brandon?
Yeah, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to, like everybody's saying, to give back to the university in which you spent so much of your time at. It allows the opportunity for us to reconnect with individuals, obviously split up the monotony of our regular everyday lives, right? Give us a reason to kind of get out and hang out with some of our old folks and really just kind of spread the word on why Radford is such a good place to be. But once again, it's always an honor and a privilege and definitely always look forward to giving back any way we can.
Nancy, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I've had the privilege of knowing 5 of the 7 presidents at Radford. And while living in Northern Virginia, my education at Radford led me to a wonderful, wonderful career. I was the first generation in my family to ever go to school for college. I taught for 19 years and was a principal for 15 years in Fairfax County. And while there, I learned about people getting together, our chapter, and I had the most wonderful mentors ever. And I know this is funny and we always laugh, but we started the first ever scholarship at Radford by selling fruitcakes. So we were known as the fruitcake ladies, or sometimes they said the doorstop holders, you know, but that started a scholarship. And I am so appreciative to this very day of my chance to get an education. And elementary education was absolutely outstanding, led me to wonderful times. And it's just a joy to be able to still be there as the junior citizen on the alumni board.
And Flip.
Well, I mean, everyone's really kind of laid it out very effectively, but the words that everyone's described is an honor and a privilege. And it really is to be on the board with like-minded individuals who just share the same passion, really want to just extend the brand of the university and try to make, the biggest impact we can through the Highlander Nation. So it is, like I said, a true honor and a privilege.
Awesome. Now, Mary, I have a question for you. Can you kind of share some of the responsibilities that you had while you were on the Board of Visitors?
Yes. Let me first of all say that one of the greatest honors any alumni can ever have is serving on the Board of Visitors. I did not really ask for this appointment. It came through the governor's office. And as a matter of fact, when I was asked the first time, I said, "What? No." But they came back to me a second time. And I just have to tell you, it's just been one of the most awesome experiences of my life. While I was on the board, I had the opportunity to co-chair the Presidential Search Committee, and had the opportunity and the pleasure of hiring Dr. Hemphill. As you know, one of the major responsibilities of the board is to hire the president. And I would just make all of you as alumni aware of the fact that the Board of Visitors will be appointing a new presidential search committee very soon. And they will spend the next several months, up to maybe a year, as they put out the prospectus for a new president. And on that board, there will be members of the alumni, members of the university faculty. It's a very broad spectrum. So I encourage all of you, if you have any interest at all, I would contact the university, probably the president's office. Let them know that you would love to hopefully be considered as one of the members of the community or alumni to serve in this very important capacity. So, being on the board, the responsibilities are tremendous, needless to say. We do not hire university staff. That is not done by us. It's done through the president's office, but we do hire the president. And then we have 4 to 5 board meetings, I believe 4 regular board meetings a year at the university. And the 5th one is usually a retreat away from the university. So all aspects of the university, all of the information, all the reports and everything about every aspect of the university run through the board. So it's a wonderful opportunity to help make decisions that impact your alma mater.
Awesome. Thank you. Flip, this is kind of a good question for you. Why is it important to have regional chapter leadership? And then we also got a question saying, other than helping with events, what are other ways that alumni can get involved in their chapters?
Well, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I mean, when you are in a region or wherever you are, you can be an extension of the brand. So regionally, it provides great opportunities, whether it's in person, which may be a little difficult these days, or virtually, to really connect alumni who are coming into the area. So for example, you could look for friends on, let's say, Facebook or Twitter or other social media platforms and notice that their jobs have changed or that they just moved to a particular area. Now, if you're in that region, it's a great opportunity to reach out to those folks and say, "Hey, did you know that there's an opportunity to be part of this, of this regional chapter?" And so it's a great opportunity to really be on the lookout. And that's one of the ways you can just pull that in and then promote those regional events that take place, again, in your region or any region that you might be a part of.
Thank you. Brandon, so we know that you were with the basketball team. So what kind of tips would you give to someone who wants to help organize an affinity group?
Yeah, I feel that we all have an opportunity to establish an affinity group, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be something in, athletics or anything organized at the school. If you have a commonality with your friends, I mean, if you had a group of friends that met, at BTs every day on Fridays or something like that, it could be anything that you really are passionate about, anything that you can connect over. I feel like you just need to step out and just do it and just enjoy it and have fun with it. Affinity groups are things that all in all bring us all together, right? It could be, for example, men's basketball team could connect with women's basketball team, could connect with just sororities or fraternities there. So it's an opportunity that we can all participate if we want to. You just have to be passionate about it and find your niche and connect the way you see fit.
Awesome. So something along the lines of an affinity group. I'm going to ask this question to Nancy. How can you talk a little bit about how special it was to serve as a leader for your Golden Reunion, and how did it make the alumni still feel connected after 50 years?
Well, when I was at Radford, I was sort of hurrying through because finances was expensive back there like it is today. And I really never belonged to a sorority like some people do. I was in education groups and I was hurrying to get through, actually on campus only 3 years and 1 summer. But just the opportunity I had to get a degree, and it was the most wonderful lead to my next opportunities after teaching in Roanoke County for a few years, but to go to Northern Virginia and work my way up to what I did then. And I've always just felt it's great to give back, and they're wonderful, wonderful people at Radford that work 24/7 for us all the time, the whole family. It's amazing what happens day and night for Radford, for our family, for the alumni, everybody, students there.
And along the same lines, I know Mary is coming up on her Golden Reunion. So I want to just kind of ask you how excited you are about helping plan that.
50 years. Just really hard to even imagine that I graduated 50 years ago. But Laura did ask me if I would chair the Golden Reunion. This is wonderful weekend. It will be in October, homecoming weekend, and we will have luncheons and very special receptions. And I am trying to plan some exciting things that maybe we haven't done before. So all of you who are in the class of 71, you will receive a letter from me in the very near future. And I hope all of you will join the Golden Reunion weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Dale, what would you say are some qualities needed to serve as a volunteer leader?
Well, I think, it's been touched on by some other members in the panel, but I would say, look, a passion for the university, it starts with that, because there is some time commitments. But if you're passionate about the school and you're passionate about seeing it advance, those time commitments are really minimal in the overall scheme of things. And I would say, you've got to have some flexibility in terms of communication, in terms of meetings, but it's nothing that is so time consuming that it really interferes with anything else. I think what I found is that the alumni office in particular is very helpful with any of the activities that they do. They really lessen the burden as much as possible. Most of the time, most of us can attend in person, but there's certainly accommodations made when we can't. So I think, there's a time commitment and things like that. But honestly, it starts and stops with a passion, a love for the university, and wanting it to move forward. And that is, it's contagious. I mean, when you have that and you get around other people who have that, it kind of feeds on itself. And I think one of the things I've found through my different activities is just, the more people you meet, the more you realize how many people really are excited about the school and are excited about where it's going and want to see it continue to grow.
Absolutely. So Brandon, this question is probably best suited for you. How important would you say it is for young alumni to step up and be leaders?
I think it's really important, especially in today's day and age, the time that we're going through, with all the technology coming about here. This is really opportunity for us young alumni to kind of step up and kind of really take the flag and kind of run with it, right? I feel as though we have the opportunity to really kind of bring people back, right? Oftentimes I see that people get out and they kind of get involved with family and what have you, and starting things of that nature. But as a young alumni, some of us still have the opportunity to kind of connect and establish, like we said, these affinities groups, these relationships early on that can kind of continue to drive us when we establish our families and things like that. So I think it's really important for us to kind of change that narrative on things. Just because we leave doesn't mean we kind of go about our way. If we start this early on, it can only do us good in the future and kind of be, I want to say, like a snowball effect to kind of make things bigger and better as everybody continues to grow and get older there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So in addition to serving on the alumni board, Flip, you also serve on a college board. So can you talk a little bit more about that? What are your specific responsibilities along those lines?
Sure. So I serve on the Artist College of Science and Technology board. And some of the responsibilities include really connecting companies or individuals who are in decision-making positions to help them partner with the university. So for example, in terms of the Artist College, there may be an opportunity to do something strategic on a grant where maybe there's projects through some of the classes through science and technology, programming, cybersecurity, and leverage those relationships that one might have in industry and partner those things together. The other, which is just something that's been coming on over the last year in our board, is a mentoring program where you're paired up, for example, with a junior or senior or someone's along in their major, and you're able to meet with them, let's say on a bi-weekly basis, and go over all the goals and specific needs that they have to really better their experience and help them along the way. So it's just, you get so much more out of it than the time you put into it when you are looking at a board position. So take your passion and, as Frank had mentioned, see if you can pursue that to sort of step up your game.
Flip, can you kind of give an example of one of those success stories?
Well, so I would say recently, these mentoring programs, for example, those are evolving now, but probably there are partnerships now that are in place where I've seen a company in Northern Virginia who didn't know a whole lot about the university and the talent coming out of it. And in addition to some of the technology folks that are coming out of that program, there are some now 50 members, 50 alumni that are part of this particular community and this particular company. So you can see that on things like LinkedIn, and that becomes what we categorize as a Radford friendly company. So those are the kind of partnerships that you'll see. Another partnership that's been amazing is, as our president on the Alumni Association board of directors, Kevin Rogers, and his involvement as well, not necessarily mine, but just seeing it grow with leveraging one of his old companies with the technology that was used for cybersecurity test environments has made a huge impact. And oh, by the way, has driven the growth and the success of the cybersecurity program immensely to compete with other schools, we won't mention names, here in Virginia and beyond.
Thank you, Flip. So Dale, why is it important for alumni to serve as a regional host at their home? I know Mary's also done this with presidents, but why is it important for alumni to step up and do that?
Well, I think Brandon put it best when he said, the two words that you've always got to keep in mind: give back. How do you give back to the school? Having gotten both a bachelor's and a master's degree there, I spent some time working there afterwards. I really felt like the university helped shape who I am, where I am in my career. And so I wanted to give back. And so, the alumni office reached out to me, Laura in particular. We talked a little bit about hosting an event in Charlotte. Charlotte has a huge alumni base. It's a base that's growing, and we wanted to tap into it. And we talked a little bit about, there are different places you could go. You certainly can rent a ballroom here or there, but there's a personal touch that comes when an alumni hosts an event at their house. It's a little bit more intimate. It's a little bit more opening yourself up it seems more personal. And that was how we kind of made the decision. And I'll tell you, it was great. Going back to what we talked about earlier, first of all, your team at the alumni office is terrific. I mean, you guys roll in with everything, other than maybe running a vacuum before you got there. We didn't have to do anything. It was a very easy event to do. I think, all felt like we had great attendance. Charlotte has become a pretty good sized city. And so it's not easy for everyone who was in the Charlotte region to get there, but we still had great attendance. We were fortunate to have President Hemphill come. He spoke to the alumni. I know that, in a living room or a family room, when the president is there, you get a chance to meet him. You get a chance to bond with him, hear his heart, understand his vision for the university. And so I think everybody that came really felt a connection that a lot of times you don't get, not to mention that, I probably only knew one of the other alumni there. Everybody else I got to meet. And so, cross-generational, you get to meet people who have all had different walks in life, yet everyone has a similar bond. And it was an incredibly positive experience. I would encourage everyone to do it. You meet a lot of people, you feel like you're helping the school. And again, I'll circle back to Brandon, you feel like you're giving back. And that, I think, as we, are out working and look back at the school, most of us, I think, feel the desire to do that.
Absolutely. Mary, do you want to add anything to that? I know you've hosted a couple dinners at your home.
Yes, when I was on the Board of Visitors, and by the way, I am a teacher educator from Radford and taught for 35 years. So my passion is really the students. And so when I was on the Board of Visitors, I had the opportunity to chair the Student Affairs Committee and to work very closely with the Student Government Association. And actually, because of that, I have developed bonds with our alumni, the young students who graduated since I was there in 2016. Several of those, which are here in Northern Virginia, I have been hosting some fire pit discussions, some fun times with them, staying in touch. But in addition to that, yes, when President Hemphill first came to our university, I hosted a big meet and greet here, had a wonderful time with alumni coming to meet the new president. Since then, I've hosted several events here for the university. And just, one of the things that I really want our alumni to understand is, I'm a 71 graduate when Radford College was a teacher educator institution. And since that time, our curriculum, our bases, our majors have really spread out to the point that we have extremely successful people in business now that have graduated from our university. And I've had the opportunity to meet so many of them here in Northern Virginia. So I love being involved with the university. Even 50 years later, I am still loving to give back, as we've all spoken of.
Absolutely. So Nancy, along the lines of education, you were also a teacher. You had an amazing career as an educator. So how do you continue to help future teachers in the College of Education?
Well, I do work with the Department of Education. I'm on a committee there planning for events for homecoming. Very interested in our future of having enough teachers in all our schools to help students grow up and become. That's really important to me. And I really have two quick, short things to share, if I may. One way my husband and I try to help Radford, we belong to the Roanoke Valley Sports Club. And we were going to these meetings and there were no coaches coming or no people from Radford. And so twice now we've had the coaches for basketball, Mike Jones and Mike McGuire, come to Roanoke and speak. And they did a most outstanding job. So we've heard from people all over in Virginia and other places, but it was a great chance to say, hey, this is time for Radford to be heard there. And they've really gotten wonderful comments. Some people still tell me how great they did. What a wonderful job to learn what's happening at Radford. And another fun story about us, what we can do. I have a principal friend in Fairfax. His daughter started her freshman year at Virginia Tech, and she went to the first football game. And she came home and she called her dad. And she said, Dad, I went to the first football game. And she said, Dad, there were all these old people there. And he goes, wait a minute, daughter, wait, you need to listen to me. And I love this. He said, daughter, those are the people that make your life better. And that's what we're about. That's what I think about. I probably didn't know who was there when I was at Radford, helping my life be better there. And I think that's such a good example of him telling his daughter what it was all about.
Awesome. That's an awesome story. So Brandon, how has your leadership motivated your network to be more involved, and how do you keep them all connected?
Well, yeah, it's always a pleasure to be able to kind of share a time or a gathering of some sort to where you're able to speak to the next generation, right? I'm always kind of telling my buddies, hey, this happened, this is what's going on. I've had the opportunity to speak to some of the admitted students at the admissions meetings and things like that. Also give them calls and kind of check in on the students and kind of, allow them to really kind of ask me questions and me be candid with them and really being able to give back to the next generation. And as I mentioned, it's interesting the time that we're in. I definitely take it a privilege to reach out to the different groups, right? The different minority groups here, diverse groups that we have, and applying to Radford nowadays. And that's something that I do brag and tell to my friends, like, hey, man, things are changing. It's a good time to get involved. People want to hear from you and they want to hear your story. And that's something that always kind of makes me happy and excited to kind of tell my buddies. And, we do a good job in communicating, kind of spreading the word on things that's going on. But yeah, that's definitely something that I hold true to.
Awesome. So this question is for Dale. Why is it important for alumni to show their support through making a gift of any size to Radford?
Well, I mean, look, Radford is a university that has budget constraints like all universities. And I think the more that we put into the university, the more it will grow, the more it will prosper. We know that while the legislature will allot certain funds and certain funds come from tuition, it simply isn't enough. We know the rising cost of education. We want to create opportunities for all students, all prospective students. No one who wants to go to college should be denied going to college simply because of funds. And so I think a lot of alumni feel very committed that give financially is we want there to be opportunities for others to experience what we had. I mean, you see the national debates going on and regardless of where you are in some of these positions, we all recognize the cost of higher education has really become a challenge. And it's not just about, someone's tuition, but it's about making sure you have the right programs, making sure you have the right buildings, making sure you have the right technology. You can't bring in students and train them unless you are on the cutting edge of those areas and those fields. And so I think from alumni perspective, obviously when you're there paying tuition, it's hard to be also giving, but I think all alumni, can search their own situation, see are there ways to give. And look, not everyone can give, but I think one of the things the university recognizes is that any gift is significant. Any gift can be used. And, one person giving $300 is nice, but 500 people giving $1 is even nicer. And that is the why it's so important to be engaged and be involved at whatever level you can.
Thank you. Flip, so what would you recommend for alumni to do to begin their volunteer journey with Radford?
Well, it was a lot of what you and the team covered earlier, is identify areas, let's say within your network where you have, let's say, relationships or you have a passion for. So for example, I was a physical education major at Radford, or physical education, got my degree in, but it was really concentrated on exercise physiology. But after about 10 years in the industry, I moved on to, to a technology space. And therefore, it allowed me to leverage these relationships that I have now to bring in, again, partnerships that I talked about. Other things is, again, I had the luxury of participating in 2 affinity groups, one being Radford Rugby, as well as being part of Phi Kappa Sigma fraternity. So those are natural networks that are available to me, and I'm able to leverage those relationships and pull those people in that are passionate. And the reality is, it's not like a quote unquote cold call in the world of sales. It's an opportunity to reconnect with folks and say, by the way, there are great opportunities at the university to get involved in a lot of the did you know what is happening at the university. So it's a constant education, but it really brings more people back to the university, even if they can't be physically on campus.
Can you kind of talk about the golf tournaments or like the nationals event that we do, and just kind of how those are great opportunities to kind of network with people as well?
Sure. So there are usually regional events that will take place, let's say in Richmond, the National Capital Region, maybe in Virginia Beach. But those golf tournaments are great opportunities to bring people out, whether they play golf or not, or like myself, I'm always the worst golfer putting up the biggest number, and not in a positive way. But it's always fun. It's great to connect. You're building camaraderie. You're driving around in a golf cart and you've got your Radford banner on the back and it's flying around, and you're just, you're extending the brand, but you're actually having opportunities to connect. And so on a scale, that's one of our, solid events that usually has about 100 plus people come out. Now, the Nationals game, the Radford Day at Nationals Park, that's tenfold. And that's a great opportunity where alumni will come from all over the Commonwealth. Sometimes they'll come all over the country to participate. And to be able to be part of this stadium and part of a section where you can look up and say, welcome to the Radford University alumni and friends. And that's on the scoreboard. I mean, that is the ultimate sense of pride. And you could see it, highlighted right up there. And with that, you have a lot of folks like Frank and the Alumni Relations team. You have President Hemphill. You have other leaders that will come up. And it was a great way to connect with those folks and then reconnect people who may not have been involved since they graduated X number of years ago. And it's a regional event. People know about, the professional sports team. And from time to time, you might even find some Radford alums who are affiliated with, a Washington National. And he chose wisely. We'll just leave it at that.
Awesome, thank you. And those golf tournaments and those other events are great opportunities to get affinity groups together, get your friends and your organization together, and come out and have a great time with other Radford alumni. So Mary, how has your board leadership, both with the Board of Visitors and with the Alumni Board of Directors, provided you with opportunities to increase your Highlander pride and learn more about your alma mater?
Wow. The last 8 years, I have been either on the Board of Visitors or the Alumni Board. And it has just been such an awesome experience, really, to come and to give back, and again, to meet so many alumni, to serve on the Board of Visitors. And by the way, I encourage all of those of you who are listening today, please follow up on this. We need more members of our graduates to be on the board. Right now, Radford has 4 of 15 that are alums. And I can tell you, serving on the board and being an alum, you have a different perspective about the university. Your heart and your soul is there. You can apply through the Secretary of the Commonwealth. I believe that Frank has given you the address. It does require a resume, but if you're really interested, you need to certainly get involved with the university. The governor has the final word, but if the president knows you and knows that you're really out there working hard, and I know many of you are, then by all means apply, and let's get our board all alumni graduates so that we have people there. And I'm not saying that people who don't graduate from Radford are not good board members, because I've met wonderful board members, but there's just a difference when you are a graduate of the university. So.
Awesome, thank you. And to kind of piggyback on what Mary just said, I just sent another link in the chat box for everybody. If these opportunities sound interesting to you, if Board of Visitors isn't right where you are yet, but you're thinking about maybe in the future, click on that form, fill out your information, and one of us will be in touch with you on opportunities that are best for you. So I wanted to just drop that in, since Mary perfectly gave me the opportunity to do so. And then I had a question from Nancy next. Can you kind of share how your support with athletics and your Radford network, and why it's important for alumni as a whole to support our student athletes?
Well, I grew up, when I was in 6th grade, my mother died. I was 11 years old and had a cousin 2 years older who played football, basketball, and track. And my aunt and uncle, his parents, would feed us dinner on Friday night, and we'd take off to every game there was. This is how I started loving sports. Whether it was home game, away game, we did all those things. So I just have interest. When I was in high school, I played basketball, half court, way back. That's the dark ages when you couldn't, girls, women can't run, that kind of thing. You can only go half court. But just my love for sports continued. And like I say, I've enjoyed going to football games, basketball games. My husband and I've had tickets at Radford. We are getting to know the new baseball coach who's been at Radford, and we just love supporting. And if I can quickly mention, when I was principal at my last school, it was time for me to retire. And I said to the community of over 750 students, that's like 1,400 parents and staff, do not give me a gift. My husband and I want to start a scholarship at Radford. And so we asked for people wanted to give money, fine. So it amounted, in a matter of 6 months, it was endowed. Back there, of course, that time was less money than today, but that's okay. And something I'll never forget, a little girl came into the office with her hand. She was holding change in her hand. It was like 60 some cents. And she said, here's some money for the scholarship. And I just think it's that amount, because so often today people say, oh, you want me to come to a meeting for a Radford alumni? Oh, is it a fundraiser? I hear this all the time. Oh, is it a fundraiser? But that 60 some cents helped make the scholarship endowed to $10,000. So every amount of what people can give, and Radford people understand that, but somehow there are some people that have a fear that they want some money. Well, they do want some money, as Dr. Hemphill calls it, our treasures, but they also know we have other responsibilities besides just giving to Radford.
Brandon, do you want to kind of tag on along with that and talk about why it's important for alumni to support our student athletes?
Yeah, being involved with the athletics department, both with the men's basketball team and also with the sports information department, you just kind of see all aspects and how these student athletes, it's a full-time job. I'll be honest with you, right? When those individuals are granted the opportunity to come to school on a scholarship, it's a unique and a blessing. But at the same time, they do have responsibilities that they have to uphold there as well. So any support that can come, may it be kind words. Of course, the treasurer is very much appreciated, especially with the last year and things like that. But kind words, a pat on the back, right? Just to continue to give encouragement to these student athletes, because I tell you, it's some long days and some long nights with the travel associated, and every bit helps. But we definitely appreciate it. They definitely appreciate it. I know I appreciated it when I was there, and it's something that definitely shouldn't be overlooked.
Awesome. Dale, what is the time commitment for your leadership role on the alumni board and in other areas?
Well, I mean, like, there's certainly a time commitment, but I would say it really varies. We have several meetings a year, and so there's usually a day involved in those meetings, between travel and between the actual meetings, but it's nothing that's unmanageable. And, frankly, the meetings, they're enjoyable. I mean, it's we sit and talk and bond and discuss what we want to do. There's usually a social element to it when we're done that allows people to bond even more. So I would say, again, this is all kind of pre-COVID, right? But pre-COVID, we were probably 2 full days a year, if you factored in travel, along with, maybe there could be a couple of telephonic meetings and maybe some things to follow up on. When you look over the course of 168 hours a week, times that by 52. It is not nearly as much as you might think on the front end. What you find out when you're done is that it really didn't take all that much time, and what you got out of it was certainly worth what you put into it.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. I have one final question for everybody. I want you to give me one word to describe your Radford experience. Just one word. I know it's hard, but if Kevin can do it last week or the week before, you guys can do it. So I'll start with Flip.
Relationships.
Relationships. Mary? Oh, got on mute.
Awesome.
Awesome. Nancy?
Opportunity.
Opportunity. Brandon?
Unforgettable.
Awesome. Dale?
Foundation.
Perfect. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for joining us today as the panel, and then thank you to everybody else as well for being here. We did get some questions that I wasn't able to address today, but we will be reaching out to you to answer those questions directly. Again, if you are interested in getting involved in some of these opportunities, please click on that link in the chat box, fill out that form, and we will definitely get in touch with you. This webinar has also been recorded, so we will be posting it on our website as well. We hope that this has inspired you to become a Radford alumni volunteer. We need all of you to help us reach our goal of 1,000 volunteers in 2021. So sign up for a coffee chat with a member of the alumni team and share your interest with us to learn more. Be sure to join us next week for our final webinar Wednesday of the month and learn more about how alumni can volunteer with our Center for Career and Talent Development. And finally, as always, please reach out to us with any questions and to join our 1,000 Volunteer Challenge. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you all next week back here at the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern, for our final webinar of February. Thank you again. Bye, everybody.